So, hello, welcome back to the next episode of Jim Rohn Leading an Inspired Life. As a summary, and it's the second part, so the first part was already pretty good and pretty interesting, with a lot of great advice and with a lot of insights into how he thinks and into how he thinks one should lead his or her life. But yeah, I'm pumped. I'm actually really pumped. And it is actually quite unfortunate that I'm only recording once a day at this point in time. I mean, there have been days where I've been recording like 3 times. I think 4 times or 5 times is the maximum amount that I've recorded on a day. But it is fun. I like it. It is amazing. It kind of, it is actually one of these times of my day where I really am not thinking about too much. I'm thinking about a podcast and that's quite it. And this is insane. Anyway, let's go ahead. You cannot inspire others to sell more when that goal is inconsistent with your own conduct, which was the last one that we went through yesterday. Nobody would mind paying the price if they could have a clear view of the future. Do you mean paying the price in terms of, paying the price of knowing what the future is going to be like? Because I wouldn't do so, I really wouldn't. I think that it is good that I don't know everything that's going to happen in the future. I mean, I can assume a few bits and so on and so forth, but who knows? Maybe tomorrow I'm going to die. Who knows? Could be the case. Nobody knows. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. But knowing something like that, I wouldn't necessarily think that this is going to set my mind on ease, Do 2 things to help your or our kids. Help them see the promise and help them pay the price. Diminishing intent. We intend to take action when the idea strikes us. We intend to do something when the emotion is high. But if we don't translate that intention into action fairly soon, the urgency starts to diminish. The time to act when the idea is hot and the emotion is strong. Yeah, and I've clearly seen that in my life as well. And this is also one of the reasons why I believe that when you're willing to do something, then it is probably the best idea to do it on the same day. The next day after you've slept, and it is not the same. It really is not. I've seen it, and I've also been reading articles about it, and I think probably books have also been talking about this, as this book is. But when you indeed, sleep over it, and you're having one night in between action and thought or idea, then probably the next day you're going to feel like, wow, okay, this could go wrong, that could go wrong, I'm actually not that type of person, and whatever the fuck you could come up with, there's a lot of things that our brain is able to make up, quote unquote, make up, maybe it is even the truth, but in the end it is like, no. Increase your motivation by quickly setting up the disciplines. Even though I do want to point out, and it is the exact same thing that I've been talking about yesterday as well, I'm doing so many things. I'm being disciplined about so many things, whether it is about diet, sports, the podcast, doing shit, getting shit done and whatnot. Do I feel motivated? Not necessarily, but I gotta be honest. And I finally know what I meant yesterday. Because he also said, if you create new disciplines, if you're disciplined about new things, then this can motivate you and this can make you feel inspired. And I have experienced that, and actually very recently. And actually over and over again. When I'm on a diet, when I'm trying to cut down a bit of body fat, even though I'm not the biggest guy, I'm not the fattest guy, but I do sometimes like to just get leaner, just for the sake of seeing how I can do it, how well I can do it, and so on and so forth. Of course, I am not going to be too overly strict about things, and I also really try to not starve myself, because it is something that I've done before. Actually, the last week, it's been insane and extremely dumb. It doesn't make any sense to do that. Really not. You're just only going to lose a lot of muscle, you're going to lose a lot of strength, but it's not going to give you any benefit. And I've also not seen that much. Well, I've seen a bit of change, but not that much. Anyway, when I'm dieting, I really, 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 really feel good about myself. And I'm not necessarily motivated. Motivated is the wrong word, but I do feel good. My well-being is higher. And, this ties into something that I've been talking about with a friend of mine very, very recently, which is, okay, apparently my head and my body is working in a way of when I'm not feeling terrible, because of course when you're starving and you're just so fucking hungry that you can't even sleep, this is not an amazing feeling, and it is not something that I can suggest anybody to do. But, big but, when you feel like and your body thinks and your mind thinks that you are you when you're feeling terrible, you are you when this and that is happening, then it is not amazing. Then you kind of have to feel bad to feel good. As strange as it might, let's put it like this, you have to feel bad physically in terms of, or so that you can feel good mentally. It doesn't make any sense. And it is fucking dumb. It's hurting me, and it is hurting people as well that are experiencing the exact same thing, but it is about the ego. The ego is willing to just live or lead this type of life where you are feeling bad physically. Like, nah. You have to think about that, and maybe I'm gonna also look that up and talk about that in another episode, because I think it is incredibly important. Like, what is my ego saying? Is my ego just letting me do this so that I kind of feel good, apparently feel good? Like, yeah. Don't wish it were easier. Oh, no, I'm sorry. If you will change yourself, everything else will change for you. You don't have to change what's outside. All you've got to change is what's inside. Yeah. Happiness. It is about the insides. It's not about anything that's outside. The same thing as, okay, when I look like this, when I look that shredded and this and that and these and those, then I'm gonna be good and I'm gonna feel good, and then I'm gonna be motivated, and then I'm gonna be proud of myself. The only thing, no matter how shredded I was, no matter how good looking I was in a physical term, in terms of my body composition, no matter how good I was looking, and at this point in time, I'm not looking terrible. Quite decent. I've been able to actually accomplish those goals that I've always had, like having a bit more mass without just being fat and whatnot, but just looking a bit more built. But I don't feel like that I've done it, and I know that it is always going to be the case. When you have a goal and when you think, okay, I'm going to be happy when I accomplish this, I'm going to be happy when I have this, I'm going to be happy when I do this. This is everything, all of these things, they are outside things, they are external. And it is about internal things. It is about how you think about things. It is about what you believe in. It is about your values. And all of these things, it's not about anything that's outside. It's about the inside. Of course it is difficult. Of course it is difficult to deal with that and alter that and change that and use that as knowledge to make things better. But it is the case. It's not about the outside. And this, by the way, is something that I tremendously appreciate about Coach Greg, if you know him. Sometimes, videos are being made in a way that make fun of other people a bit too much and kind of do not incorporate all the aspects of somebody else's life that could lead to certain decisions and certain things, which I can understand. I mean, it is for the sake of simplicity, probably, because he's not dumb, but I tremendously appreciate the fact that he is often pointing out that it is about the inside and not the outside, because it is totally the case. If you feel good in your inside and everything is fine in your inside, the outside doesn't matter. Like, there's a quote: every why can beat every how, or something like that. I don't know by whom it is. Anyway, don't wish it were easier, wish that you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. It's amazing how hardworking, yes, it's totally the case. It's amazing how hardworking, intelligent people have all the luck. Yeah, it is amazing. It is such a piece of crap. Work hard on yourself than you do on your job. Doing less than you can messes up the mind the most, causes all kinds of psychic damage. Well, I mean, going all out, it is, at this point in time, and tomorrow I'm actually going to have my test, my driving license theory test thing, so that I then can do the practical test thing. And I feel like that I could have done more, and I could do more today as well. And I do hope that I'm also going to do so. But on the other hand, it's like, what is the maximum? My maximum is 24 hours a day, not doing anything else. Could I sustain it for long? Nah, not really. Could I do it for one day? Maybe. But yeah, I understand it. I understand the whole thing, the whole concept. But if it is practical, I don't know. Go where the expectations are so strong that they provoke you and push you. Long-term goals are the equivalent of a major journey. When you reach the point where you have achieved your long-term goals, your life will be fundamentally changed, and the process of getting to that point will have transformed you into a stronger, wiser, and higher performing person. The podcast, voila, it's the same thing. Or it is this thing. The reason for setting goals is not what you obtain, it is what you become along the way. It is about the process, and once again, it is about the inside, not the outside. It's not about the goal and the thing that you're going to get at the end. It is about the process, which is something that's, intrinsic. It's not external or exotherm. No, anyway. Don't set your goals too low. And there's a good saying, if you shoot for the moon, then the probability of you hitting the stars is pretty high. But if you shoot for the stars, the probability of you hitting the moon, which is better, is zero, because you're not aiming for the moon. You're just aiming for the stars. You're aiming just for something that's lower. And the higher if you aim at something and the higher it is, the higher of a goal it is, the higher the chances also that you're gonna achieve something big. Of course, if I'm shooting for $100 trillion, am I gonna get to $100 trillion? Maybe, who knows, but probably not. The probability and chance is very, very low. But if I work according to that, if I work for that goal, then of course I'm gonna make a ton of money. I'm gonna make 1,000, gonna make 100,000, gonna make 1,000,000. Because compared to $1 trillion, it is quite nothing, and I'm working for the trillion. And along that way, all the other shit comes. If that makes sense, I hope it does. Anyway, don't join an easy crowd, you won't grow. Go where demands are high. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, being surrounded by people that I've always been trying to be as good as I can in school and in whatever they actually did, if it makes sense, then it forces you and it makes you feel the same way and act the same way. I'm not going to be the one that is worse than anybody else. Not going to do that. Not going to be that. So let's fuck that. Go where the demands are high. Go where the pressure is to perform, to grow. Ambitious people see everything they do and every discipline they adhere to as a link in this chain of events and actions that will lead them to their final destination. Yeah, some things just have to be done. Certain things just have to be done. And everything is a big thing. Everything is a big thing. Yeah, quote that, please. Now, when you think about, I just had something pretty cringe in my mind. I'm not gonna say that one, but let's do it like this. If you think about having a business, okay, what goes into having a business? Having the knowledge, doing the work, probably having the people around you, health, I would say as well. Part of life is health, and the healthier you are, the better you can perform, which means, you probably have to work out. You probably have to think about your diet. You probably have to think about stress. You probably have to think about sleep. Probably have to think about water intake or whatever it might be. I don't know, But Everything ties into the goal of having a successful business. But to optimally be able to do that, there's a ton of other things that they have to take care of. Might seem overwhelming, I don't know, but it is not. And yeah. When you can see that every link in the chain will eventually lead you to the things you want most out of life and to the person you want to become, then you won't grow discouraged, fearful, or impatient with today. As with the whole driving license thing, it pisses me off so much. First of all, it is extremely expensive in Austria. I don't understand why there's so much money made, probably. Second of all, a lot of time. Third of all, a lot of learning. But I have to do this. I have to make my fucking driving license. Part of life, part of my life, part of what I maybe eventually want to do is having my fucking driving license. And part of having my license is doing the work. Having the lessons, learning, taking the tests. And what goes into just taking the test? Yeah, learning, as I said, and just doing it in a smart way, and so on and so forth. Like, everything is tied together. I have to do it. There's no way around that. I could complain as much as I can and as I want. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to make things better. It's not going to make things easier. It's not going to alter anything in any way that is going to put off some pressure off me. It is what it is, and one has to deal with it. And once again, it is about the intrinsic thing. It's not external, Of course, when I've taken the test tomorrow, I'm going to be fucking happy, and I'm not going to just deal with that shit and have to deal with that shit. It's one of these things that I then can tick off and just put away and do something else, and focus on different things and plan different things, But yeah, until then, I wish you the best, stay safe, and bye-bye.